Good afternoon everyone. For the next topic that we will be tackling is all about the microscopic structures of skeletal muscle tissues. As an introduction, movement of the limbs, the heart, and other parts of the body are made up by muscular system. And this muscular system has three types of muscle tissue. So number one, the skeletal muscle tissue. Number two is the cardiac muscle tissue. And lastly, the smooth muscle tissue. And just for this time, we will just be tackling about the skeletal muscle tissue. And skeletal muscle tissue is attached to the bones and they help you move your body. So this is very important in the body movement of one individual. And this skeletal muscle tissue is multinucleated cells, which means are eukaryotic cells that have more than one nucleus per cell. So just remember the word multinucleated cells. This means more than one nucleus per cell. So each skeletal muscle is considered an organ. It is because made up of connective tissue layers, muscle fibers, blood vessels, and nerves. And skeletal muscles are attached to the bones through tendons. So these are the structure of skeletal muscle. So this is the bone that attach the skeletal muscles. So this is the tendon that attaches the muscle to the bones. And this is the epimysium, blood vessels, fascicle, perimysium, endomysium, nuclei, myofibril, and sarcolemma. So first one, we will be tackling about epimysium. Epimysium means, epi means upon or over, and mysium comes from the Greek word which means muscle. So epimysium is upon muscle. So outermost layer siya ng skeletal system. So example is the epidermis. So, pag sabihin nating epidermis, this is the outermost layer of the skin, am I right? So, epimysium is the outermost layer of the skeletal muscle tissue. And these muscle fibers are bunched together into something called fascicles, which means bundle. So, these are the fascicles. And this means bundle. And these fascicles are surrounded by connective tissue called perimysium. So this is the perimysium. And this surrounded the fascicles. So peri means around and mysium means muscles. So these are muscles around the fascicles. And inside the fascicles, another connective tissue layer called endomysium. So let's see the endomysium. So this is the endomysium, and this surrounds individual muscle cells. So endomysium, this is inside the fascicles, and endo means within. So endomysium is inside the fascicles. So let's move on to the muscle fibers. So this is the muscle fibers. It is a long and cylindrical, and they contain several nuclei. So muscle fibers are wrapped in a cell membrane called sarcolemma. So this is sarcolemma, and sarcolemma wraps the muscle fibers. And the next one is the myofibrils. These are tiny rods inside. So this is inside each muscle fibers, which are surrounded by sarcoplasms. So sarcoplasms, this surrounds the myofibrils. And myofibrils is also called fibril and consists of sarcomere. So this is the sarcomere. This is the contractile unit of myofibril that occurs in repeating segments. So this is the sarcomere. So this will be the enlarged photo of sarcomere. So sarcomere has 5 components: the Z disc or the Z line, the M line, the A band, the H zone, and the I band. So number 1, the Z disc. This is the blue arrow. This indicates the Z disc, and they allow for the attachment of the thin actin filaments as well as an elastic protein called titin. Each sarcomere contains thin actin filaments and thick myosin filaments. So remember, a sarcomere contains thin actin filaments and thick myosin filaments. And the thin actin filaments anchor to the Z disc. So itong thin actin filaments is connected to the Z disc. And the thick myosin filaments, the red one, attached to an elastic springy protein called titin. So yung thick myosin filaments is connected to the Z disc through the springy protein called the titin, yung yellow in color. The next one is the M lines. The M line is the anchor to the center of the myosin filaments, holding them together while acting as a shock absorber. So this M line is a shock absorber. This is the region center of the H zone and contain protein that hold the thick filaments together at the center of the sarcomere. Third one will be the A band. The sarcomere section that contains the entire length of a thick myosin filament, along with overlapping portions of the thin actin filament by making the dark striation pattern. So, the A band, this is the dark and the middle part of sarcomere. Remember, A band, this is the dark part of sarcomere. The next one is the H zone, the section within the A band that consists of the thick myosin filaments and its embedded M lines. And there are no thin filaments in this section of the sarcomere when it is relaxed. So, H zone, this is a narrow region of the center of each A band, and it contains only thick filaments. So, the last component of the sarcomere, the I band. So, I band is the lighter zone that contains the rest of the thin filaments but no thick filaments. So, just remember, in I band, this is the lighter zone. And this contains the thin filaments, so wala itong thick filaments. So, I band, the lighter zone. So, that ends my discussion about this topic, microscopic structures of skeletal muscle tissue, and I would like you to ask any questions, or I would like you to share any ideas or clarifications about this topic. So, tulong-tulong tayong mag-deepen ng understanding sa topic na ito. Kaya, any questions, any ideas to share?